Hey, yo, what's going on, people? It's your boy Tesmo coming at you with the Chapter 3 review slash discussion of Samurai 8 entitled Cut the Cake Tank. So, man, when we get into the chapter, we open back up to see some of the debris or, the rummagings of damage that had been done from our pig assailant from the last chapter, who we kind of got a glimpse of at the end. Some unknown person letting us know that there's been an attack, and he tries to, he gets the guards confused with these certain individuals because they are as well riding on top of a pig-like thing, but it was more of a tank. He then tries to use one of their swords against them, but come to find out, these particular swords that belong to the squadrons or the individual masters or people of the school have their own unique code embedded into them that no one can unsheathe them but the actual recognized person as its owner, which is pretty decent. Cut down on any sword on sword kind of killing or damage that may be going on from other bushi or individuals who want to take up a sword but aren't properly trained to use said sword. And then we get back to Hachimaru and Nanashi, and them going outside, and Hachimaru being acknowledged by some younger kids who also belong to the school that Nanashi goes to. And they kind of overtake him and like, oh man, you're a samurai, at our age, a key holder, like you're just like the teachers. Like, how did that come about? And Hachimaru basically explains the weird pants metaphor that he was given by his master, and it was like, I don't get it, but that's kind of cool. And then we see Nanashi kind of recede inside himself and kind of go into the temple where the actual the keystone is being held, as you can see there under the statue with the two people and the one guy on top of it that kind of look like the Rashomon gates or even like the Susanoo type of things from Naruto in a sense. But you see him kind of we were learning a little bit about Nanashi, like his insecurities, the things that he himself feels. So he's basically just saying, oh, he's grown attached to Hachimaru and that's his friend, but because he's so blank, he feels like they've taken him away, the two individuals who just acknowledged Hachimaru for just being a samurai. And he like he said in the previous chapter, he is kind of the back of the scenes type of individual. You don't see much of him. He doesn't really have a outstanding presence of any type, but he wants to be a samurai. He wants to be, in a sense, on equal footing with Hachimaru. Doesn't have to necessarily be like Hachimaru, but he would like to be like his friend. He'd like to have that mutual connection in addition to their already existing connection that they had. And then that's when danger kind of strikes. So the pig tank assailants finally get to the school because they are actually after this same exact keystone to take it for themselves. And then they fire upon the guys in the group right there, and the two kids going off to get the master. And then Hayataru, I think that's the dog's name, he actually smells that same particular gunpowder that was used, letting us know that those were the folks who actually knocked him and Hachimaru out of the air. So they're like, oh, this is kind of messed up. And they were like, hold on, is this the this the wolf guy? They're like, no, this can't be, because completely looks different. And then Hachimaru finds a sword on the ground, but as I said earlier, this isn't his individual sword, though he doesn't really have a sword of his own yet. I don't even think he has, he does have his own samurai soul, but he's still fairly new to using his abilities and powers. I don't think we'll see anything of that just yet 100%, but I think those would be used at only particular special moments. So they probably do have their own individual real swords to use. But this one actually belongs to Nanashi, so he can't actually unsheath it. And then that's when we see more of the conflicting battle between Nanashi and himself. Nanashi more or less wanting to do and be more, not be the reclused individual, as he starts talking to left and right both of his hands, whom I just think the conversations he's having kind of more lean heavily on the good and bad, the more logical, illogical thoughts, rationality, just his pros and cons, his yin and yang. And in all actuality, he we get to discover that he wants to actually do more. He wants to be more than just the shut-in, the background character. You know, he starts off, you know, more or less in the conversation like, oh no, this is, you know, I should have never come outside. I knew something like this would happen. Basically making excuses or trying to find reasons as to why he should justifiably not do anything. But you know, he's getting the same exact conversation back, like, your friend's in danger. You always, you know, you want to be something, you want to be a samurai just like him, you know, from his hand still. And he's like, but you know, this is the time. You have to do something. Like, if nothing else, what will you do, or when will you do something? And his other hand's like, I can't in all good consciousness agree with you, you know, as far as being a shut-in or running back out of fear. He's like, you have to do something if you want to save your friend. And that's when you see Hachimaru one last time, you know, he's like, I still can't draw the sword. And out of nowhere, lo and behold, Nanashi comes up and they unsheathe the sword and cut the final, you know, more or less cannon that was the cannonball that was coming at them. And you know, he's like, Nanashi, he was like, you're right, I'm just as surprised as you, but you know, take me along with you, drag me along, and you know, let's do it. And then you know, Hayataro basically comes up and they all leap in the air and come falling down, and the assailants are like, you know, what's that sword gonna do? You can't cut this tank. And they slice right through the middle of the tank, just clean cut. Nothing is left. This tank is nothing but 1 and 2 pieces. And it's like, you know what, he was like, impossible. He's like, yo, your helmet has nothing on pants. Which I have to go back and reread the pants metaphor just so I can have it in mind next time I hear it. But you know, this was great to see. But then at the end of that, you know, Hachimaru and Nanashi have their conversations, and he's like, you know, we're friends, aren't we? He was like, no. He's like, yeah, we're samurai friends. And then he was like, Nanashi was basically saying, I don't want to be friends with you. And you know, Hachimaru seems kind of offended. He was like, you know, he's like, that's not what I meant. He's like, next time I'd like to instead, you know, rather than tanks, you know, cut cakes. You know, that's kind of a sense of his dream or something he would like to do with his well, I say his best friend, but his friend. He's like, I'm not capable right now to be that, but you know, one day when I'm able to become a samurai, which this could be foreshadowing that we may see Nanashi someday later down the lines in the future, the story. I'm hoping he does come back. I'm hoping, you know, to see what type of samurai soul he gets. Maybe he gets some unique weird abilities that, you know, morph his hands into something, you know, like left and right become these cool dual wielding blades. Like, you never know. Just throwing it out there. But you know, Hachimaru was like, you know, space is big and vast, so you're telling me you're gonna leave this star? He was like, yes, that's basically what he plans to do. And he was like, you know, it may be impossible to find each other. You know, he was like, next time I'll come and find you. And he was like, you know, just, you know, don't get me wrong, but you know, one wrong step and you just may actually die, because it's different outside of the house. And he was like, I'm fine with that. Feeling alive and existing in this world is way much better than staying invisible and doing nothing at all. And then as they leave and, you know, part ways, we get back to Hachimaru's master and his father sitting down having a conversation regarding the samurai soul that the thieves came and took out of Hachimaru originally. And his master's like, you know, this is no regular sword soul. This is something kind of, you know, it's extraordinarily rare. And he was like, why would you have this? Either you're some kind of weird petty thief or there's something more to it. And he activates it and kind of like it ejects towards his father's face. And he was like, you know, you didn't even flinch. He's like, who exactly are you? And then to what degree that, you know, Hachimaru has an affinity for these type of things. Like he's had such a crazy affinity towards this. He's like, who or what is Hachimaru? And that's basically where we end off, guys. And all in all, chapter 3, great. Loved it, killed it. I'm enjoying the story. It's only gonna get better from here. Yo man, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Make sure you got the bell icon turned on, man. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it, man. Leave a comment if you would be so kind, but you ain't got to, you know. I appreciate any and all things you may do. It's all towards growth. But other than that, anybody watching this video, I will holler at you and catch you for chapter 4. Stay tuned. It's your boy Tez and I'm out. Peace.